Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, Must Love Labs. My name is Alan. On this channel we discuss tips and tools for how to raise, breed, and sell Labrador Retrievers as quality family pets. So if you're new here, you might consider subscribing. In today's video, I'm going to discuss with you 5 things that I wish I had known before I started buying dogs for breeding. Let's get to it. Okay, here's number 1, the differences between the registries. AKC is the most well-known registry out there. It's the top dog. In the fast food world, they'd be like McDonald's. You know, everybody else wants to be them. AKC is the big boy on the block, if you will. They kind of set the bar for everybody else to try to emulate from. And I didn't understand the differences in the price points between these registries when I first got started. The amount of work that you're going to do as a breeder isn't really going to change based on where your dogs are registered. But what is going to change is the price points when it comes time to sell your puppies. AKC dogs typically sell top shelf. Those are where the best price points are. You can literally have dogs that look almost identical, but they're not AKC registered. Maybe they're with another registry, a breed registry or something. I'm not going to name them off because I don't want to make anybody feel bad. There's a bunch of them out there, and they all serve a great purpose, by the way. But for the purpose of this discussion, we're talking about AKC dogs when it comes time to sell your puppies. The price points on the AKC dogs, from what I can see, are easily 30% higher, in some cases even twice as much for the same puppies. So your workload isn't going to change. The amount of work that you have to do every day, everything you have to do to manage breeding and taking care of puppies, all that stays the same. Your paycheck can literally double when it comes time to sell puppies if you've got AKC registerable puppies. I didn't know that when I first got started. I certainly know about it now, so I'm passing that on to you. There's also a bit of credibility that comes with being an AKC breeder. It's a name that people are familiar with. They say that familiarity breeds content. People are content with what they're familiar with. And if you name off some registry that nobody's ever heard of, when they're looking at buying your puppies, they'll be thinking, okay, I'm not quite sure who that is, but I know who this AKC person is over here. Yeah, we know that name. So there's a credibility issue. And this is why I coach people to steer towards AKC registerable puppies. And the way you do that is buying AKC registered breeding stock. Okay, here's the second thing that I wish I knew about before I got started breeding dogs. And this is where to sell these puppies. I mentioned this in previous videos to be thinking about a little bit. And I mentioned it for good reason. You need to know where you're going to sell these puppies before you start breeding. You need to have a plan for that. And I didn't understand any of this. I really had to figure it all out myself. You know, when I was a kid, you put up a Post-it note at a grocery store. I ran an ad in a local newspaper. And I'm not saying that those things don't work. I'm just telling you that we're living in modern times and everybody is online. Okay, online is where it's at. So this brings a couple of things to talk about. The first one is Facebook. Now, I'll tell you up front that you can't sell live animals on Facebook. It's against the terms of service. Those are the rules. Okay. Having said that, take a look at my Facebook page. Okay. This helps me sell a lot of puppies. We've got a huge following, and that takes time. But there's people that look around on Facebook for puppies. And here's what you do to stay out of trouble with Facebook. You never mention price and sales specifics in a public post on Facebook, okay? You can put a picture of a puppy up there and say, yeah, we've got this great puppy for sale and we've got, 5 more just like them, and message me for details. There's the key right there. Message me for details. This brings the conversation over into Messenger, And now in a private message, you can discuss anything you want to talk about as long as you remain civil, you know. But you can definitely discuss price and availability and where they're at and when and all these things. Just don't do it out on a public post. That's selling on Facebook. A lot of people don't know that. I didn't either. A friend of mine caught me before I got in trouble and mentioned it to me, so now I'm mentioning it to you. So that's Facebook. The next one I want to talk to you about is online at sites like puppies.com. Now, you guys have probably heard me mention puppies.com before. When I first started selling puppies, we listed them on puppies.com because nobody knew who we are. I didn't have a Facebook presence. I didn't have a web presence to speak of. So puppies.com is a big public forum. Lots of people selling puppies there. Long-standing breeders been using puppies.com for years. They used to be puppyfind.com. You may have heard me mention them before. Now they're puppies.com. It's a great marketplace to sell puppies on. I didn't know about this. This was all a learning experience for me, but I do now, so I'm mentioning it to you. Now, the next social media, if you will, that I want to mention to you is YouTube. Right now, obviously, we're on YouTube. One of my unofficial gurus once said that if you're not using YouTube to sell puppies, you should be. I couldn't agree with that statement more. It's not easy making YouTube videos. It's not hard either. It's just things that we're not familiar with, and we discussed that. Familiarity breeds contentment. Once you start becoming familiar with the process, you'll be okay with it. Doesn't have to be super fancy. We're not talking about a blockbuster hit here. We're just talking about showing people your puppies. People love video. They really do. Video is in. You can also use video on your Facebook page too, by the way. I actually do both. When I make puppy videos, when you guys look at our playlist, for instance, you can look at the last litter we did was a Peanuts litter, or the holiday litter before that, or take your pick. But all of those litter update videos, I post them up to my Facebook page and to my YouTube channel. I work both platforms, and I cross-connect in between. On the About page of both platforms, I list the other one so people don't have a hard time finding us. And that would be making YouTube videos, and you can upload the same video to Facebook. So we're talking about a social media footprint here. I didn't understand this when I first started selling puppies. I was all focused on the puppies. And you also need to worry a little bit about, or not worry, but consider how you're going to sell them. That's an issue too. One of the things that's also worth mentioning with YouTube is that if you meet certain criteria with YouTube, and it won't happen overnight, but eventually if you get a certain amount of subscribers, I think it's 1,000, and you have around 4,000 hours of watch time, which on the internet, that's actually surprisingly easy, you can monetize your YouTube channel, and advertisers will start running ads in your videos, and there's another revenue stream there that I hadn't even thought about when I started raising and selling puppies. I hadn't even considered money that would come from YouTube. And it's not get rich quick stuff, you know, it's just not. You're not winning the lottery, but it's having another iron in the fire, and I would encourage you to consider it. Okay, moving right along, that brings us to number 3, having males on concrete. Having your male dogs on concrete. What do I mean by that? If you watch my kennel tour video, I show you how I started out with my kennels, and I had to save money, basically, and also just kind of following the direction of somebody else had given me. I had gravel floor kennels with goat panels in the bottom to where the dogs can't dig out of them. And that's fine. Sometimes they dig around in there a little bit, mess around with them, and pretty quick they run into a goat panel, and then the excavation stops. They can't dig any further than that. Well, then you get started breeding. And if you have a resident stud dog, and you have a male in your kennel now, and your female comes into heat, your male stud dog, especially the adults that understand fully what's going on, they will lose their mind. I'm not kidding. They will lose their mind. It's laughable, to be honest. But at the same time, as the owner, it's something you have to deal with. And your male If he thinks there's even the slightest chance that he can get out of his kennel, he's going to sit there and try all day to do it. He will sling gravel everywhere, dig down into every nook and cranny, just make a huge mess. I've never actually seen one hurt their paws, although I suppose that's possible. But they will really just lose their mind. If they think there's a way out of that kennel, they're going to try it. And what I discovered is when I put a concrete slab underneath what I call the bachelor pad, it's where I keep my male dogs. When I got them on concrete, they stopped trying. They don't even worry about it anymore. Their stress level went down. They stopped trying to get out. They just kind of calmed down and got resolute about the fact that right now they're in the kennel, and that's that. So everybody got to calm down and quiet down and settle down about the whole I got to get out of here and go find her thing, which is what's going on in their mind. So getting your boys on concrete, getting your male dogs at least on top of concrete. I know it's expensive. I get it. Most of my kennels, the dirt floor kennels, I've got the big ones from Tractor Supply, Doghouse, everything. Gravel, goat panels in the bottom, all of it, they're around $1,000, or at least that's what they were when I bought them. You go to put them on concrete, it cost me $2,500 to put a slab under my bachelor pad. That's what it cost. You can work up to that. You can do it with puppy sales. You can cash flow it right out of puppy sales. You don't have to break the bank making that happen. But I would encourage you to head that way. Beginning with the end in mind is fine. That's a good concept. So I'm telling you about it. You want to end up with your boys on concrete if you're going to have a resident stud dog. Now, if you're not going to have a resident stud dog, if you're going to be one of the people that just outsources the stud situation all the time, then you probably don't have to worry about it too much. But this is what I coach people to do. Lean towards getting your boys on concrete. And folks, by the way, if you're getting value from this video, do us a favor and hit that like button. It really does help out quite a bit. And I mentioned coaching a minute ago. I am offering one-on-one coaching now. You can go to our website at mustlovelabs.com/coaching and check out the details on that. Okay, that brings us to number 4, a calcium supplement for your mama dog. You want to get your mama dog on a calcium supplement. I didn't understand this in the beginning. I was focused on dog nutrition, of course, and feeding my dogs good food and whatnot. And I started breeding dogs and having puppies, and I noticed that my mama dog was kind of lethargic. It seemed like her energy level wasn't where I thought it should be. She had blown her coat out. Labradors have a double coat, and I got to wondering about that. Lots of shedding going on. She seemed like she'd slowed down quite a bit, and she was feeding these puppies, and she would eat well enough, but I just thought that she was kind of dragging her heels a little bit. And so I got to looking into that. And what I found out through research is that these mama dogs, they give up all their calcium to their puppies through nursing and really even during gestation when they're forming, and then later big time through milk production. So we need to have our mama dogs on a calcium supplement. Now I'm using Doc Roy's. I'll put a link in here, take you right to it on Amazon. You can also find this on the tools page of our website at mustlovelabs.com/tools. We've got a list of products and tools that we use and recommend right there, and you can thumb through it. It's kind of a little mini Amazon store. I'm an Amazon affiliate, so if you guys go there and buy something, they kick me back a couple of pennies for sending you that way. So calcium supplements for your mama dog. Something I didn't know about, but I do now, so I'm mentioning it to you. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about today, so number 5 on the list, the importance of an outbuilding for dealing with larger breed dogs. Now, I suspect, and I don't know because I've never bred small dogs, but I suspect with the smaller dogs this might not be quite so important, although I would still consider it. But what I found with our first couple of litters of puppies is we had them in the house, in our living room. And when they're little and they're cute and they're small, that's fine. But what we found was that when you get up around 5 weeks old, if you've got Labradors, which are considered a larger breed dog, that gang of 8 or 10 puppies starts taking up a lot of space and making a lot of noise and kicking out a lot of smell. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is going on in my living room. So we set up a puppy habitat out in my kennel, out in my shop. And if you look at our kennel tour part 2, it'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'll put in a card here that'll take you right to that video if you want to watch it. And this is when I discovered the magic of having an outbuilding. And it doesn't have to be a big fancy shop. It can be a shed that you convert or whatever you have available to you. The key here is that it needs to be climate controlled and it needs to be safe. So as long as your puppies are safe and it's climate controlled, which means they can be comfortable and develop well, then you're good to go. But this gets the whole growing puppy situation outside of your house and into an outbuilding. It's where you can kind of reclaim your living room a little bit and get back to some normalcy. And the more breeders I talk to, the more I realize how pretty much everybody's doing it about that way. Some people are using a garage. That's not quite an outbuilding, but pretty close. Shed buildings work. Shop buildings work. Setting up in one of the stalls in your barn. Get creative with it. But the value of having an outbuilding to move the whole puppy operation out into a separate building and out of your living room once they're big enough. So for us, that's about 5 weeks. That's something that I wish I had known about at the beginning. There you go. That's number 5. Hey folks, if you'd like to support our channel, there's a thanks button down at the bottom of this video, and we appreciate you doing that in advance. If you like watching these tips style videos, we've got a playlist for that right here. And if you'd like to watch videos about becoming a dog breeder, we've got a playlist for that right here. You can always visit us on the web at mustlovelabs.com, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.